everyone. We have a game with the white pieces against Frad, rated 1619, who just opens up with a Fianchetto, allowing us to take control over the center. The problem with just doing this is that you have no pawn presence, and the reason you play the Pierts with d6 first is so that when I kick your knight, your pawn can capture my pawn. Here you have to go back home. It's a bit weird. So where do we want to go now? Let's just develop. He tries to break down our construction, and I think in a situation like this, you could play a move like Queen e2, which may look weird because it blocks the bishop. But what it does is it just gets off the alignment with his queen, because after he takes, you don't want to trade queens. So now we get to take with the pawn. He can't develop the knight. The bishop is stuck, and we're going to get a rook here in a couple moves against his queen. That's the whole point. And you say, well, what about our bishop? Well, we can Fianchetto it, or we can just see how the game plays out, and we'll see what to do. So he develops the bishop, eyes a pawn. I don't see a downside to developing the bishop over defending the center and getting ready to get a rook over. Okay, he develops the knight, which is just a regular developing move. I think now's a great time to include the rook for free, because his queen doesn't have anywhere to go because the pawns are in the way. So it has to go to an awkward square. And now my queen e2 move is starting to make more sense, right? Okay, so I just want to take stock of the position. We have a couple knight jumps, this and that. But I think it's time to maybe move the queen or just get the Fianchetto, because we do want to get this bishop in the game. I'm thinking maybe move the queen up. It supports the center, some knight jumps, some dark squares. You could move it to other potentially viable squares, but it's still on the diagonal of the bishop. So let's just go up one. That way we can get the bishop out freely. And okay, he actually took that pawn. That's weird, kind of crazy. He takes the pawn. I guess the one good thing for him is it hits the rook, so I can't do something. I can't do whatever I want. I guess we'll just lift it, which prepares doubling for free for us. I guess at the cost of a pawn. But now he goes back, so that's two moves. Not sure that I can approve of that. Let's get the bishop out now. And look at our position. I mean, he may have grabbed a pawn, but we're the one who has a position that looks dominating. So he can't get this knight out, right? It hangs if he goes this way. Now he moves his bishop for like the fourth or fifth time to break the pin for some reason. But I'm not going to take. I was just kind of getting my bishop out of the way so I can castle. We have a really good position here. I guess let's just castle. Okay, he hits the bishop to try to force the issue, but I'm still not going to take and give him this nice diagonal, so. I want to provoke further weaknesses by him pushing pawns. That's why I'm going here instead of c4. And now we're on this nice diagonal towards his king. He's going back again. Oh my god. this guy. And the reason I wanted to induce this pawn move and I called it a weakness is because of, for example, right here, you see how I can now attack the knight where if the pawn was back here, that's not even a thing. So that's what I mean by weakness. So now we're going to improve this piece for free. I also wouldn't be surprised if we had crazy moves here, maybe sacrifices or knight jumps or something. So he defends this way, going back and forth, back and forth. This guy only knows how to move his bishop. But I feel like we can win stuff here. This should be tactically good for us somehow. So if we lift the queen, we hit it twice. So he has to do something like this. Then we attack his bishop. He takes with the pawn. We take. He takes. We take. I mean, let's go here and add a second attacker. We can always add a third attacker too. We don't have to try to make e6 work. I kind of like the pawn here because it blocks everything, so I don't want to move it unless I win a piece for sure. This does let his knight out, but at the cost of a knight, so that obviously doesn't work. And our position is just so overwhelming. Okay, he moves his bishop again, but now we get to take with check, freeing up a square for our queen. Okay, so, yeah. What? So let's go through the game. We tried to get a Jobava London, but they didn't play d5. He went for a Fianchetto setup, which does not control the center. So we take it. And now already the engine is saying it's plus 1.7, which is huge for a move. What are we on, 3? That's crazy. And it's just because you have no pawn presence. You have no d6. And that allows us to kick a knight. Whenever you can kick a knight, you should consider it. And keep in mind, this isn't even the best move. We drop from 1.7 to 1.1. Oh wait, no, it is the best move. What? But when I make it, it drops. That makes no sense. Okay, so whenever you can kick a knight, you should consider it. And because he doesn't have good central squares, we do it. He has to go somewhere. Development and center. And queen e2. This may be where the first move that looks a little weird, but hopefully the game showed you exactly how this move works and what it does. It's development and center, and once he takes, we recapture a forced move. Now development and center. Development and center for free. Improving a piece just so we can get our bishop out. And the evaluation more than doubles in our favor once he takes this pawn. So it's plus 1.2, but the second he takes it, it's plus 2.8. Just going to show you how bad it is for him to take that pawn, which is why I didn't care that when I moved my queen, it was left hanging. Because it looks completely wrong when you're this underdeveloped, and you can't even develop, to be taking pawns. Out of curiosity, what is... The engine wants me to go h3. What the heck is that? I guess because bishop g4 is to take the knight to pressure the central pawn. So to protect our center further, h3. Interesting. And the next best was actually queen d2, getting out of the way of the bishop instead of queen e3. I thought about queen d2 because it coordinates with the rook, but I wasn't 100% sure. I guess it also keeps the knight from coming out, so that's another. Although so does the other one. I don't know. Either way, they both look pretty good. So he takes the pawn, and then force move, and then just development and center. King safety and development. Force move, plus 4.4. Completely winning position, overwhelming. He's up the pawn, but we're plus 4.4, and hopefully you can see this. Like, hopefully you can see that the rampant activity of our pieces, and this e-pawn very importantly. Like, if you take this e-pawn off the board, I mean, you're still better because his king, and he's not castled yet, but it's definitely much more playable. But with this pawn, it restricts his development. Development or improving a piece for free. Didn't I say I wouldn't be surprised if we had sacrifices like this? And apparently one of the best moves is that. But instead we just lifted it up because we saw guaranteed, winning material. And then we just win, we just take free stuff. I do want to look at this cool resource. So there is F5 here, which hits the queen and says you kind of shouldn't have done that. You can't really en passant because he's going to take and you lose a ton of your advantage. So, oops, after F5 you kind of just have to move your queen. Queen E3. Yeah, you just go back to where you came from. But F5 is also severely weakening for him, so you could induce that. So it's even a way to play. That's interesting. Okay, we got 93%er, 21 cent a pawn. Alright, good enough. But the moral of the story, I would say, is in the opening, it's a fight for the center. This doesn't fight for the center. The knight hits the center, but that's it. As long as the knight is hitting the center, that means it's on F6, which means the bishop is not hitting the center. It's X-raying it though, but it's still not hitting it. And look at all the stuff I have already touching it with the queen behind it. It's just too much. It's only 3 moves in, but it's over a pawn advantage, and so just drill it in your head, which you can and can't do in the opening. Good luck in your chess.